Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? I want to thank you all very much for coming. I think this is personally a wonderful event. I think testimonials are better than eulogies, and this is about testimonials. So we're going to film this all day throughout this entire event. It's going to be filmed. If any of you have remarks that you would like to make in private, there's a bar outside here in the lobby, and after 4 or 5 drinks, it'll be real easy, okay? Actually, there's a little room on the side, and the person will be able to film you if you have any personal remarks that you want to leave for Deb. And if you want to make a public comment, this microphone will be open, and you can do that for everybody to hear. This is about a legacy that we're trying to create. I think it's a great idea, and I hope you concur. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Ralph DiBartolo. I live next door to Bill and Debbie, God, 20 years now. And when we moved there, we used to live over on Coventry. People going, "You're moving in next to the Winklers?" I go, "Well, what's wrong with them?" You know, I even had second thoughts about moving in, but I found out different. We become very close, very personal. And I wrote something to Debbie, and I had talked to Bill about it, and he read it, and he says, "Oh my God, you need to read this inside for everyone here." And I had no intention of reading it out loud, but here goes. It's titled My Friend, My Neighbor, and Our Relationship. No words can be given. No words could be said of a neighbor who has always given herself and never asked for anything in return. She shared her thoughts and opinions. You may have agreed with them, or you may protested in anger. Rest assured, it was an opinion of truth and sincerity. Some have called her meddling, sticking her nose where it didn't belong. I say unto you that an opportunity has passed you by to know a person that was full of life. This woman has changed my life. This woman has taught me how to think about relationships, how to handle situations with my children, and although at times I may have disagreed with her, I listened to her opinion. This woman was giving me the knowledge and opportunity to create a better relationship with my children and my former wife. And an understanding of myself as a person and as a man. I have loved two women in my wife, my former wife Susan and my best friend Debbie Winkler. A love that was special, sincere, true, and of the heart. We shared many laughs, many thoughts, many dreams, thoughts about our loved ones, thoughts about sadness, shared thoughts of anger, always open, always honest, and always sincere. Every morning I would make a cup of coffee, and go next door to see my neighbor.
Yeah, well, I was at work.
We would talk for hours, and sometimes just for a few moments. We would sit at her table or sit outside out in the sun, ask what we had planned for the day, or she may have asked me of my opinion. Moments I will treasure forever. I will miss her hugs and kisses, her laughter, and most of all, I will miss her love. When news came that Debbie had cancer, I was stunned. I became angry, distanced myself from her. I could not fathom the idea that my neighbor was going to go away. If I can stop shaking, I'll get through this. I abandoned her with regret and many missed opportunities to make her life as comfortable and filled with laughter and love. Forgive me. I find myself angry. How can anyone take this woman from our lives? My life. What is the meaning of this? Here is a wonderful person who has given herself to her friends, neighbors, families, and foe. Why is her life being cut short when she has so much to offer to all of us? It angers me at times, makes me sad, makes me cry. To be alive and not have my friend and neighbor here on this earth to continue our talks, our laughter, and share each other's company. It will surely be a sad day. I take this opportunity, my friend, my neighbor, to say thank you. Thank you for your advice, your opinions, your laugh, your genuine smile, your tenderness, your love and kisses. You will be missed. I will always think of you and keep you deep in my heart forever. Thank you.
Crisis Center, which later became the Livonia Crisis Center, and then the Livonia Counseling Center. At the time, you were a volunteer who answered phones on our 24-hour crisis hotline. You also participated in a number of other volunteer activities related to the fight against drug abuse in our community. One of your main duties, as I recall, was to train new volunteers. This training included teaching skills such as listening and communication, values clarification, problem solving, crisis intervention, and how to talk with suicidal callers, many of whom were strung out on drugs. I was a new kid on the block, so I turned to people like Janine, Kathy, Ed, Vince, and to you, Deb, to show me the ropes. Although I had the most formal education at the time, having just earned my master's degree, I clearly was naive as to what went on in the real world. I remember talking with you about what you did at the center and why you decided to be a volunteer. After a few moments of discussion, the answer became very clear. Debbie, you were a natural. I must say, to this day, and I've been in the business for almost 37 years and have worked with hundreds of therapists, that you are one of a handful of people I have met that has the intrinsic ability to listen and be empathic. After being appointed supervisor in 1975, I think I got the job because nobody else wanted it, the program began to move in a new direction. I'll define it as more structured and professional. We went from playing ping pong and watching videos with patients to actually conducting individual therapy. What a novel idea. As we moved away from the notion of a 24-hour crisis center to developing into a professional counseling program, we began to hire professional staff. This included a fully licensed psychologist, Bob Deering, oh how we love Dr. Deering, and a psychiatrist, Bob Yoder. How can we forget Dr. Yoder and the Christmas party of 1980 at then director John Farrar's home? It was, and I don't know if you remember that, but it was certainly a night to remember for all who attended. I won't get into the details of that. Many staff members made their way through the organization back then. There was Mike, Lori, Ellie, James, Lillian, Pauline, Jean, Mary, Sue, Gail, Marilyn, Cindy, Shelley, Michelle, Maureen, Dawn, Greg, Jackie, Debra, Ron, Margot, Doreen, Ruth, Dr. Galligan, and John, just to name a few. In those early days, I can recall the passionate discussions in the front office deciding what was the best way to handle the many very challenging cases we encountered and treated without the benefit of much supervision. Many times we just flew by the seat of our pants. However, never once do I recall getting sued or having a patient commit suicide or assault a staff member. We didn't even carry malpractice insurance back then. Perhaps through those passionate discussions in the front office and just plain peer supervision, somehow we got it right. Oh, how things were different back then. It was around 1976 that Mike Mulvihill and I decided to embark on a new adventure, group therapy. Of course, we were novices, but both had been introduced to a number of new therapies, namely Gestalt, transactional analysis, and bioenergetics. And we were eager to work with any willing participants. With that, the Wednesday night Gestalt group was born. The group had several referrals and grew rapidly. Mike and I would meet before and after the group to plan and process. The laughter, crying, and sometimes the undefinable sounds that had emanated through the thinly insulated walls left many staff members curious as to what went on behind that closed door on Wednesday evenings. But for Mike and I, one thing was clearly missing: a female co-leader. Both Mike and I knew that you, Debbie, had the skills to be a great therapist, but because you were a volunteer, conducting therapy was not in your job description. At times you expressed an interest and a curiosity about what we did in group. So we invited you to join us as a co-leader in the Wednesday night Gestalt group. We explained that was a low-paying position, meaning no pay, no benefits. Much to our delight, you accepted the terms of the contract graciously, as only you would do. For many years to come, we dealt with some of the most challenging patients in that group. Together, we learned from them, and most of all, we learned from each other. It was now the late 70s, and we lost our leader, James Anthony, to the politics of Livonia. John Farrar, who remained the director for many years to come, replaced James. Shortly thereafter, we also lost our building, our beloved Livonia Crisis Center, with its psychedelic signage, falling brick facade, stained carpeting, collapsing ceilings, and graffiti-covered walls, was headed for the wrecking ball, and we were headed for Farmington Road. After the adjustment that is inherent in any move, we all settled in and began to fine-tune our operations. By then, we were a full-fledged licensed and accredited Blue Cross-approved professional counseling program. It is now the early 80s, and I had heard about a program that was being offered to the Livonia Public Schools continuing education. The program was called STEP, Systematic Training for Effective Parenting. The program piqued my curiosity. Having just been blessed with my first child, what better way was there to learn how to be an effective parent than to teach a class? And who, might you ask, would be the perfect co-leader? Of course, that calm, cool, and collected woman from the Wednesday night Gestalt group. The woman who was never rattled by anything those psychotic patients had to say. Who best could handle that weeping mother whose kids were out of control? Or that authoritarian father who would say, "What do you mean communication skills? When I was young, my old man took me out to the shed and whipped my ass. And I never did it again." Sounds like Dave Gilman. No. Of course, it was a no-brainer. Debbie Winkler. She was a perfect person for the job. She was a mother, had 3 children of her own, and was familiar with the program herself. The decision was made, but would she accept the terms of the contract? Again, no pay and no benefits. Of course she would, because that was Deb. It wasn't about the money, it was only about service. This is a lesson we all need to learn and practice a little more. Time passed, and Mike left to take on the challenges of managing a residential substance abuse program. 2 years later, after much prodding to leave the room, I joined him. The dynamic duo was reunited again to work our magic. However, we had finally met our match, a large hospital corporation in Ann Arbor. It was much different than the safety of the Livonia Counseling Center and the support of people that surrounded us. Nonetheless, life went on. After leaving the organization in late 1986, I remained in loose contact with both Deb and Bill. We got together infrequently, but I always could consider them friends. Let me tell you, Deb, even though we lost contact, I never forgot you and all that you taught me in the early days of my career. You are a perfect example of why you don't need a PhD in clinical psychology to be successful in the work we do. Instead, you need to have the ability to develop relationships with others. That quality is evident today, as many of your friends and family have come together to celebrate your life. Your kindness, compassion, support, your natural ability to listen and understand has impacted my life in many ways. You specifically taught me, through your example, how to be a better therapist, supervisor, father, and husband. Just think, all those years, you were my therapist and didn't even know it. Thanks for all you have done for me. It has been my pleasure working with you and knowing such a fine human being. Sincerely, Jerry.
Last night, as I was thinking about coming today, and also what today means, and then also about the same journey a very dear friend of mine is taking right now, Deb, as you are. And a few thoughts came to my mind. How many of you have read The Little Prince? Those of you who have read the story might recall this little prince from a strange planet encountered a pilot who crash landed his plane. And they spend quite a bit of time together, but at some point, the little prince knows he has to go home. He has to go home to his own planet. And he tells the pilot the night before he is leaving that he's going to his planet, and it's one of the stars, he says. The star is so small, I can't point it out to you, and that's a good thing, he tells him. He said, because you won't know where I am when you look up in the night sky and see the stars. But I'll be up there looking at you, and there will be laughter. And it makes me think of the night sky and how it will never be the same. How the Native American peoples call those who have crossed over the shining ones. And those shining ones are there watching over us, and they are with us. And perhaps it's the message that helps me get through today and other times when I need to let go and say goodbye to dear friends. That when I do look at the night sky and see those stars, they are there looking down. Each one of those is with us and will be with us forever. Debbie, thank you for being one of those shining stars.
Hi, I'm Ethan, and I'm Debbie's great nephew. And Colin's just laughing his butt off, so. Well, I don't think I've ever been up on stage and, like, talked in a microphone or anything like that. Well, I'm just really gonna miss Debbie, and I hope she has a great time here, and I've never been somewhere more greater than this place, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say, I guess.
I actually want to thank Bill and Debbie's family for sharing her with us. Those of us at Wayne State have adopted her as one of our colleagues and friends. We can't go to any events where Debbie isn't there. She's gorgeous, her clothes are gorgeous, her personality, her smile. We've had to work weekends, weekdays, and when Debbie volunteers, it just brightens up the event and the room for the guests and for those of us who are actually kind of given marching orders to show up. So again, to her family, we thank you for sharing Debbie. And Debbie, you're just so special and so beautiful. This is a toast to you. So everybody. And know that a day doesn't go by where Bill goes, Debbie, 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 Deb, 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 Debbie, Debbie, Debbie. So you are truly loved. And we know everything about you, your children, your grandchildren. And I do want to meet Sean and everybody else in the family because we know you. We haven't met you, but we really, truly know you. And thank you. And thank you, Debbie.
My name's Owen, and my mom is Debbie. It's going to be hard, so I'll do the best I can. Mom, I love you. You know that. I mean, say it all the time, so I hope that you know that. But I wrote something, basically just a quick, funny story, but kind of a synopsis of what I remember growing up in that. I started off by saying, like all new parents, you had no idea what you were doing in the beginning. You were 20 years old when Eric was born in 1966. And by 1970, Beth and I had joined the family. I can only imagine how isolating and overwhelming that must have been for you. Dad was working 2 jobs at the time and going to school. And I see it with my own wife and kids, and she's at home. And I can only imagine with the 3 of us how you did it. But you persevered, and you taught yourself how to parent. You taught yourself how to communicate. And you taught yourself through the books that you had and through the Crisis Center. You had a virtual library of books on the subjects at our house. I don't know, Beth and Eric probably remember books all over the place on how to parent, how to talk, how to... I used to think it was weird, and now I'm starting to have my own library. Because I have no idea what I'm doing either. And we didn't make it easy on you. You know, you were learning, and we didn't make it easy. Especially Beth and Eric, they were the worst. But you never gave up on us, no matter how much we pushed you away, and we pushed you away a lot. You were definitely different than other moms, but different in a good way. You have a good heart, and you mean well, and we knew that growing up, and we sensed that. You had all kinds of sayings all over the house. People aren't for hitting. I can't believe how much I use that phrase with my 2 girls all the time. And I can hear you coming through me when I say those things. As a parent, you really came into your prime in my teenage years. One story I remember was, I was in the car, my buddy Lance was in the car, and I had the radio cranked up. You were driving, and you turned the radio down, and I said, why'd you turn it down? And you said, when you have your own car, you can turn the radio up. For some reason, that I put that in the vault for when I was old enough to drive. Again, years later, Lance and I are in the car, and you needed a ride. So I was like, the great conjunction, right? So you're in the car, and Lance knows what I'm going to do. I turn up the radio, and you turn it down, and I was just like I can't believe she did that. I started to tell you, and you interrupted me and said you need to be really considerate of the passengers in your car, and turn the radio down. And I thought, you win, because you're mom. You had this ability to teach us the lesson, and then years later, when we thought we knew the lesson, turn it around again on us, and because you were the parent, and you always were. You made my childhood fun. I feel like a very, very lucky person to have you as a mom because of the things that you did. We didn't have money. I was definitely aware that we didn't have what other kids had, but the security that came from the love that you gave was all that I needed, and I think that's all that we all needed because we had each other. We would make, out of cardboard boxes in the basement, complete gas stations with cars and buildings and everything, and then when we had to clean behind the refrigerator, you would give us flashlights, and we became like an archaeologist.
I was just securing my spot up here. I remember when I was in 3rd grade that I was busy being a little jerk to everybody. And we went to a psychiatrist, or I think it was a psychiatrist, name was Dr. Serezny. And I would spend Wednesdays for about an hour picking at the seam of a couch. And then then going home and getting busy, being a little jerk to everybody. And that wasn't working. So we talked to Aunt Debbie and Uncle Bill, and they would come out and talk to us and help us with stuff. And I remember getting a package of posters that had cartoons of kids feeling different things, being glad, being sad, being angry, and being frustrated. And I thought it was the lamest thing in the world. And I said thank you and was nice about it. I don't remember who gave me my G.I. Joe Serpentor or He-Man's Ram Man or anything like that. I remember that Aunt Debbie gave me that gift. And I remember talking about it 2 days ago to a friend of mine when he was trying to talk about his son trying to express things to him because he had just gone through a divorce. And because I didn't know what frustrated was before I saw those posters. I knew what frustrated felt like. I didn't know what it had a name. It seemed like anger to me. And I didn't know what feelings were. I didn't know what different kinds of feelings were. You had good and you had bad. And when it was good, that was great. And when it was bad, it was worse. And you helped me immensely in my life, in my family. And I think this is the one place where I can express how awesome my family is and not feel bad, because I have so many friends with families that just outright suck. And they tell me about it and I'm like, that sucks. I don't want to sit there and say, well, my family's not like that. My family does this. There are times when I say that because maybe they can learn from it, but I don't know, you can't do much about what family you're given. And I was lucky enough to have the family I have, and I was lucky enough to have you and Uncle Bill help my family be functional. Something that I was told wasn't able to happen, and I think that's wrong. I think we have a very functional family, all of us. And I think it's largely in part to due in part to you and Bill. And I appreciate your life and everything that you've given to me and my family. And I love you very much, Aunt Debbie.
Sorry, I'm Steve. So I'm just going to kind of wing this one myself as well. Growing up not too far from my Aunt Debbie, I just have a few small stories to tell about being so close to her. I love all my aunts, don't get me wrong. But I spent more time with my Aunt Debbie than any of the other ones. Riding my bike with my parents, or well, I should say with my mother, over to her house. We spent a lot of time over there. Some of the quirky things that I saw you do growing up, washing the floor with a toothbrush, just odd things like that. I just never understood it. You know, you were definitely a one-of-a-kind person. There was a time it was Eric and Owen, Beth and I, and somebody didn't have shoes, and we wanted to go eat at the mall, but we couldn't go in. So Aunt Debbie came up with the idea that we would surround the person that did not have shoes just to make it look like everything was cool, you know? And I wouldn't do it. I don't know what happened. I was really little. I was the jerk. So we ended up going home and having whatever, you know, probably fried bologna or who knows. I never, you know, growing up, Aunt Debbie, you and Uncle Bill both have helped my family, our family, out immensely. And we thank you so much for that. I mean, I didn't know that, or I didn't think that you were crazy until I got older, though. When I made a family tree and there was a little square because your parents and you guys were married, and no one understood that. And I said, no. They got divorced, or their spouses passed away, and they remarried, and their kids married, and everything's okay. We're not, we're not the family tree that doesn't branch. So, had to explain that quite a few times. So, but I just remember all the conversations that we've had, being neighbors, you know, coming over and hanging out in the backyard and just saying hi to Grandma or Eric or the kids or anybody that just came by, and just that whole time was just very, very special for me and my family, of course, too. So I love you, and we all love you, and I hope you're having a good time today. Nobody knows this, but if Debbie knew that Bill made my sister and I clean out his car of rat's nest, she would have said something to him. She would have scolded him, and she would have got on his case. But that's the type of person Debbie was in my life. Is when I lost my mom, she was the one who stepped in to help me cope, and my sister, with the death of my mom. She served us. That was the type of person she was. She knew that there was a need. She knew that there was 2 kids that were going through struggles, and what did she do? She came in to help me grow up. And I know that she whispered in my brother's ear many times to speak to his little brother about the craziness that he was getting into. I know that. I know she whispered, and he did that, I think. I'm sure he did, on a number of occasions. But I just want to say thank you, Debbie, for the example. I can't just tell you how many times I can see those statements on her refrigerator, all the little quip statements about raising life and raising kids, and I was in awe of Debbie and Bill. I was in awe. These 2 people set the standard in my life for what commitment meant in a marriage. They set the standard that I wanted to follow. And I hope I can, just like you, because you have blessed my life. You have blessed my life. I know I haven't been around much. I know that. But you've been up here. You've been up here a lot. Because I remember the things you say, and I remember the things that you would tell Bill to say to me. And it's worked. It's helped. It's helped me be the person I am today. And I want to say thank you, Debbie, for that.
Oh. Debbie, my name is Wayne, and my brother Gordon's standing there against the wall, and I hope I speak for him as well. I want to start off by saying I love you, Debbie, and you know that. We go back 57 years, actually. I played marbles with her brother and baseball, and her father was my baseball coach. And Debbie was about probably 8 years old at that time, and we lived directly behind Debbie, my brother and I, and my other brothers. But our friendship has lasted that many years, and such a special, special person you are, Debbie. So much. And, you know, I remember something my dad used to tell me, and that was that you can determine how successful you've been in life by how many friends you have. And you have hundreds of them. Hundreds. And the enjoyment and friendship we've had over these many years, our group of originally 13 guys and 13 gals or whatever, we remained friends all these years, and that's been precious to me. And I wish you weren't going through this. I'll remember you all my life. You've been a sweet, kind person. I've gone through a few years of my life, and you know, I've often wondered why people are getting nasty and argumentative and that kind of thing. But Debbie was always a cooling, soothing kind of a person to be around. And I was mad at Bill when he married Debbie. I really was, because you know, he met and dated other girls, but I says, you're never going to get to go out with Debbie. That isn't going to happen. And yeah, but I always knew Bill was extremely intelligent and certainly a good talker. I didn't know he had any common sense till he started dating Debbie. But as I say, I speak for Gordon, and my mom and dad say the same thing. You're just the sweetest, kindest person. You brought so much joy to so many people, and wisdom. And the wisdom that you have, along with Bill and your stepbrother, I'm just amazed and so grateful. You've been a good friend to so many people. And I'll cherish you as long as I live as a dear, dear friend. And I say that from all the guys and gals and everybody in this room and people that couldn't make it. You're just not only beautiful on the outside, you're so beautiful on the inside. And that's what's important in life. Having friends, you know, all the material things in the world can't replace that. Friendship is more important, and love of a family, which you do love your family and they love you. That's what makes life happy and successful. And I will see you again someday, I promise you that. And you, to your children, your grandchildren, I know how proud they are of you, and I know how proud Bill is. But I can't say enough about how much we all care about you. God bless you. I love you. Bye-bye.
My name is Cindy Posa, and I really didn't write anything down that I wanted to say, except that I was one of those kids that the village helped raise. And Debbie and Bill were part of that village that helped raise me. I wasn't just the babysitter. I started watching Eric, Owen, and Beth, I think probably when Bethy was 3. And I won't tell the embarrassing story, Beth. We talked about it last night, right, Eric? I'm 48 years old now, and what a profound effect you've had on me that I realize at my age now. You helped me become a young lady just by watching you. You helped me refine myself just by watching you. I don't know, when wasn't I at your house when I was growing up? I was there. I was in the backyard, I was in the front yard. We sat, we talked. Debbie taught me a lot of things that I didn't realize until I got older and turned into an adult and turned into a woman that I look back on. And I walk into the house now like I did last night. I flew in from Florida yesterday. It took me all day to get here. But I look on the wall and I see the rose still on the wall with the frame around it. And the first thing, what did I ask Bill? Where is the chart on the wall where the kids grew up? I have one of those charts in my house from my daughter because Debbie had a chart. And my daughter is on that wall, and I told my ex-husband, you're gonna have to cut that wall out because it's gotta come with me. And so many things I can't even remember to even think about the things that you taught me that I didn't know you were teaching me until I became a mom and a wife. And I'm divorced almost 2 years now. And going through a divorce in Florida by myself was tough. But I always knew that if I needed to come home under the wing of Debbie and Bill, I could do that. And it would be okay. And I didn't have to give any reasons. I could just come home. And I made it. I made it. But the crisis center, the quips on the refrigerator, they're still there. You know, it's amazing the things that stay with you because of Debbie Winkler. And they come back to you. The poem book that she wrote that, I don't know if everybody's aware of, but it's all around here. I still have that poem book. And you know how many times I moved in my life? A bazillion. And I still have that Debbie Winkler poem book that goes with me. So Debbie, I love you. I thank you for everything that you instilled in me that I didn't know you were doing when I was growing up. And it's always good to know that I can come home whenever I need to. And I love you.
Hello, testing. Okay. I don't have any prepared speech. I am Bill's sister, Debbie's sister-in-law. Stepsister and sister-in-law, and we are not from the Appalachian Mountains. I just want to make that clear. Just two quick stories. When my mom was sick and dying of cancer, and Bill was dating Debbie, and she was in high school, she used to come over after school and help Steve and me with our homework. And she insisted, because I was, 11, 12 years old, that I needed to go to the library, and she was going to take me and get me some books on becoming a young woman and how to start, or when you start your period, what that was all about. And I thought, I don't know, I don't want to do this. But she insisted that I needed to learn these things, so I was very grateful that she taught me all about that. And also, she taught me how to change diapers, because I got to babysit her children quite a bit when I was a young girl. And so I was grateful to learn that, and learned some great parenting from watching Debbie and Bill in operation. They were excellent parents, and I always remember thinking if I was ever blessed enough to have children of my own, I hoped that I could raise them in the same way that Debbie and Bill raised their kids, because they're awesome, and you did a great job. And I love you. I'm gonna miss the heck out of you, but I'm so glad that you're here today and that you can enjoy this day with everybody.
My name's Dave Friedrichs, and I'm a little outside the family circle, but from another big, large family. And it's funny how paths cross in this wide river of life that we're all journeying, traveling down. And I wanted to share a few things about how my families and Deb's crossed, and how pleased and how it's made my life better for that, and how happy I am to be friends with Bill and Debbie and their family and our family. I came first to know Deb through property management, taking care of the village. There was about a 5-year period where I had responsibility for London townhouses from a management operations standpoint, and Deb was a key part of that group that helped to try to solve the problems and try to, for over 5 years. But the surprise to me was that while we became acquainted there, I found that she and her sister had actually, in another area of their work, had done the wallpapering of my parents' home in Coventry here in Livonia, and that they had, when they were in the home, had looked at the there were 6 kids. I'm one of 6. Deb and I happened to be born in the same year. And Bill and Deb had seen the laddering of the heights of the kids on the door, all 6 of us, and they had decided to take that and bring it to theirs, and that's how they took that. And then I learned that Bill had worked with my father and in community education in Livonia, and we had that sharing. And my mother's she's approaching 90 and still living in Coventry, and my father's passed now. But the sharing that we had because of that has just meant a great deal to us and showed us how close and all that how close, and there's not 6 degrees of separation, but I think we can all find that we're living in that river of life together, and I just am so happy, Deb, to have been with you, and I want to have all the sharing that we can, your family to ours, and may it be strong and continue. I know one of my sons and Bill have been in touch and coordinated on some things there through Wayne State, and may it go on through all the lives of our kids through all these years. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dick Zwicky, and I've been behind the mic for many years. I do the football for Lincoln High School out in Ypsilanti, but nothing like this where everybody's looking at you. I'm usually behind them. But I just want to say hello to Debbie, and a little story. About a year ago, Linda and I stopped by, and Bill came to the door, and we said, well, where's Debbie? And she said, well, come on up. So we went upstairs, and I thought Morgan Mindy was here. Debbie's hooked up to wires. She's got her feet in the pan. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, I guess it was one of the treatments that she had. And just want to say, on behalf of my wife Linda, my mom, and all the Zwickys on Uncle Johnny's farm, we love you.
My name's Will DiBartolo. This is my brother Jimmy. Most of you in this room pretty much watched us grow up since we were kids. Fortunately, you have Debbie since I was a little meatball. When I was a kid, it's kind of funny that you look back on things now. I was a little troublemaker when I was a kid, you could say.
I split the tree in half right when we moved in. Remember that?
Times I would get in trouble, my mom would ground me, and I can remember she would tell you that I would sneak outside. You would say, just hide his shoes, he won't go out. If I was only smart enough I am now, I would just go out without him. I remember a time I went outside, and as kids do, I spit on the ground.
To make us clean it up.
And here comes Debbie out of the house and said, William. I said, yes, Debbie. You ain't going anywhere until you clean up what you just did. Back then I hated it, but as I grow older now, I see other kids do it, and as you learn how to respect people and learn your manners and things, you look back and you taught us something that we should know and we should live by. You're the only person I knew that would make people eat crab for breakfast. As I know you like to eat healthy, she tries to get Bill to eat healthy. Maybe something you don't know is I used to sneak Bill a lot of cookie dough when you weren't home. There would be more, trust me. I don't like to make people cry, so I'm trying to be funny. Just my fiance. Sure, you all know Debbie has a cherry tree in front of her house, and for many years I used to help her pick those cherries, and she would make outstanding cherry pie. If you do need help for that bill, you know my number. I would like to come over and help you. I enjoyed that. A big milestone next year, I'm getting married. you might not be here, but just because you're not there physically, you'll still have a seat there. And I want to thank you for the person I am today, because my mom and dad both taught me a lot of the things I know, but a lot of my manners I know came from you. I want to thank you, and I love you.
This is not mean. I do not want to do this, but since we had like an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, so I have to, you know, no doubt. We weren't even moved in the house next door yet, and I cracked the damn tree right down the center. You know what I'm saying? So now we got to replace the tree. So automatically, I'm a badass kid. I'm sorry, a badass kid all of a sudden. So as time's going on, you helped me through. I had drug problems when I was growing up, high school, you and Bill. I didn't even have to spend money on a psychiatrist or nothing, because I had you and Bill next door talking to, you know? So it's like win-win situation. I'd get in trouble. My mom and dad would walk over to your house. I'm like, damn, I'm grounded for fucking 2 months. I'm sorry, I'm grounded for 2 months. I'm getting everything taken away. I ain't gonna see none of my friends, nothing. But then we come back. It wasn't even that bad. I don't get grounded, I don't get nothing. I find myself telling on my parents when they're disciplining me wrong, because I go over to Debbie and Bill's house and say, they're not following your steps you taught them to, you know, disciplining me on. And, you know, she would school them on doing whatever. And like you said, I'm cleaning up my spit on a 5, 6, 7 times hourly, outside in the front, you know, smashing your windows up with baseballs and footballs outside the car. And it was all stupid to me growing up, and I really like disliked you, like when I was like before, you know, 14, 13 age. But now man, you're like a second mom to me. Man, I think about you all the time. The tools you've taught me through life that my parents couldn't teach me, I still hold those with me. I teach my kids that. And you and Bill, man, are just amazing people. I can't even explain it. There's not, you guys are a one of a kind. There's never gonna be like no one like you guys ever, ever, ever. And Debbie, you, man, you're gonna stay in my heart till the day I die. I promise you that. And I will visit your grave on a weekly, monthly basis. I will come see you. I promise you, because you impact my life more than anybody has in my whole life. And I love you, Debbie.
Hey, I know you. Well, I'm the big mouth of the cousins. They figured they'd get me up here, they'd all feel better. Come on, get in here. We're the big mouth cousins.
Hey, I'm not French.
Neither are we.
And we came up to say hi. And you know, you still look beautiful.
You bet.
You know? If anything, the Dibuses and the Winklers and all the different things that have happened between the different families has taught us it is about family. And I'm glad to be a Dibus or a Jacobs, or I don't know what the heck I am anymore, you know?
Somewhere down the tree, we're all Dibus.
Yeah. As long as that tree keeps doing that, you know?
Just remember Grandma as the bark, you know, as the center. We kind of all came off Grandma. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that we had a chance to come and see you and smile, and hopefully we'll see you smile some more. Carol Ann?
Debra. I'm Deborah's cousin, Carol Ann. Debbie and I, when we were younger, we used to play Auntie D in the kitchen. I don't know if you remember, Deborah. We had the salt and pepper shakers. We'd play Auntie D, and we'd sing songs, and our aunts and uncles would look at us like, those children are so strange. But we had a good time, and Deborah and I would draw lines up the back of our legs, like we had nylons on. We were so proud of that. And then we'd get the buggy out of the grandma's garage, and Deborah would get in the buggy. It smelled nasty. But I'd be pushing her down the street, and we had the best time. Grandma would be yelling at us, you kids are going to get hurt with that thing. But Deborah, we have great memories, have lots of pictures, and I just love you, and I just want you to always know that. And the cousins felt if we came in numbers here, it would be a little bit easier. We got Diana, we have everybody here, Tim, Patrick. It's just, we love you. Abe?
I'm Tim Davis, cousin, and I just want to say, when I first got this invitation, I just looked at this thing and I went, oh shit. You know, what do how do you address something like this, But, I was here 5 minutes, and I think that more people should do stuff like to celebrate someone's life. Thank you, because you've always been the one that's got us together. Keep wanting us to get us together. Love you. Thank you very much.
I'm Pat Davis. I'm
The little cousin.
I'm the youngest of the group here. All I want to say, Debbie, is I love you, and I will definitely miss you. Goodbye.
My name is Loud. No, my name is Diana. I'm Debbie's cousin. I was their official babysitter. And I can't tell you how many times my aunt and uncle would come home and they'd say, the kid's all right? Oh yeah. Get to bed on time? Oh yeah. And a lot of times they got into bed when we saw the lights come up the driveway.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, they would all be sitting on the couch with wooden spoons and pans. And at midnight, we were out on the porch, banging pans, watching in case somebody would let a firecracker off or fireworks but I love you, Debbie, and I'll see you again.
Most people don't understand ahead of time what they're in for. I'm going to tell you. I'm Bill's worst nightmare. I'm his brother-in-law. My name is Paul Jenkins, good Irish lad. Walking along one day after being married for about 10, 12 years, and I stopped in my tracks and I said, my God, my kids are half Polish. I gotta stop telling those jokes. Because nobody in the family understood them, but anyway, they just didn't think it was funny, Yeah, we do that, but walking in on this family, it was a different life, a different lifestyle. I was an only child, see, and my sister hated it, but she learned to live with that, and but that was it. We had each other, and relatively small family once we grew up, because even though my mother came from a large family, they were all gone. And by the time I grew up, but I grew into this family. And Bill and Debbie were kind of the patriarchs of the kids. And since they both had the same grandparents, and if you don't understand that, you have to have somebody explain it to you. They're still explaining it to me, but I don't know how that happened. It had something to do with the neighborhood thing that they did. But anyway, they were kind of the patriarchs of the kids, and we kind of looked up to them. And it comes to June, and ready to take Anita out for her birthday dinner. And she said, we're going with Debbie and Bill. And I said, why is that? Well, it's Debbie's birthday. And he said, I didn't know you were twins. And they said, well, we are. We're just a year apart. And because I know a lot of people have thought that, they've come up to me and said, well, where's Anita's sister, her twin sister? And I said, no, you're close, but no cigar. But they have been as close as two sisters could be throughout their life, I know. And I've learned to live with that, you know. But among other things with Debbie and her ways of dealing with problems and so on and so forth, and sometimes frustrating to a person that doesn't know a heck of a lot about psychology, but definitely it's worked out well. And if you don't think so, you have a conversation with her kids, and you know for certain how well it's worked. She has 3 of the finest kids you ever want to meet. And it doesn't end there, because her influence on a lot of people's lives have been felt not only by those people, but they have passed that on to their children and their children's children. And I'm finally getting to like the fact that Debbie is finally seeing the problem that I've had for a few years. And she's almost bald. And now I can start telling her bald jokes. Like people tell me all the time, do you really think a bald guy thinks a bald guy joke is funny? You know, I don't think so. But so I don't know, Deb. So I'm gonna lay a few of them on you and see how you like it. But it's all in good humor. I'd like to end with something that I've kind of picked up on in the last year or so. I saw a movie. Most of you have probably seen it by now. It's called Australia. And one of the things that you pick up on in that movie is that when somebody's no longer with you, they say, we can't say their name anymore. Well, thank God we don't feel like that, because Debbie's name is going to be on my lips for many, many years. Her memory is going to be foremost in a lot of people's thoughts. And we're going to be able to tell her all about this for a while yet. And I hope that while is a long while. But know this, Debbie. I am going to be saying your name because I'm glad in my life that I have known you. Not so much Bill, but I'm glad I've known you.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. I've only been part of this family for a very short time. And one of the first people I met was Debbie. And the instant I met her, I felt like I was part of the family. Second I walked in, she greeted me with all smiles and hugs. And ever since, I've always felt part of this family. Even the people I don't know, I feel very warm when I come into this room. And I think a lot has to do with Debbie and how she's affected every single one of us from the first second you say hello to her. And I just have to say, you will be remembered and you are very loved. And I'm glad to be a part of this family. Thank you.
Well, I am Kristen McDonald, and I have loved Debbie Winkler my entire life. She has been an advice giver, extremely supportive of me with my health problems, with my marriage, my children, my parents. And I would always look forward to them coming up to see us. We live in the north, and she would spend many, many weeks over the year spending time with my parents and my family. And I remember when I was a kid, we would go to ski weekend at the Miculus, and I looked forward to it. I thrived on it. And going home, I would cry the entire way. And I don't know why my parents continued to not drop me off with somebody so I didn't experience this great love, because it was such a letdown to come home. And I was always so devastated as a little girl that I had to leave this immense, intense love that sustained me. And it was never enough. It was just never enough to have a weekend with you and wait months and months to see you again. And you've shaped my life. You've been my parents' best friends for eternity. You've made even my brother a better person, which is incredible, amazing.
Amen.
And even my husband adores you, Debbie. So you've been amazing, and every ounce of your advice I've listened to and I've taken in and I've appreciated. So I will love you forever.
I'm Uncle Butch. I'm the proud father of that young woman. Bill and Debbie and I go back a long time. A long time. And I want to kind of change the tone, and I just wanted to say thank you for a couple of things to you, Debbie. First of all, thanks for the euchre games. They were great, weren't they? And thanks for the baby lima beans and cream sauce. Now, I don't know how many of you around here don't like that, but my wife and Debbie's husband hate that stuff, but Debbie and I loved it. So when she came north to see us, by God, we had it. And finally, just thanks for the memories, Deb. I'll have them for a long time, too, you know? God love you.
Hi. My name's Teresa, and my first job was washing dishes at Bill's restaurant, where I learned excellent customer service skills and learned how to love the Winklers a lot. And my first time becoming intimate with Debbie, she was learning how to say no. She was reliving her childhood, or re-childhooding herself, and learning how to say no, so she said no a lot, and for a whole year. Really, it's crazy. And I thought she was the coolest. And so anyways, a long time ago I wrote this poem for all of us, and that, you know, I just decided to dedicate it to Debbie because she embodies the spirit. But you know what, I'm not going to say that poem because it'll make me cry, but there's a poem instead from my favorite poet. There comes a time I recognize treasures, Finding that brings pleasure to my senses whenever renewed. Just the hope that they have maintained their original excitement is intriguing. If upon viewing them once more, I find the delight remains, a sigh falls over me, realizing that my senses have been kept, always to be treasured. You are a treasure. I love you.
So, I think this has been phenomenal. Would you agree? I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the food. I hope you enjoyed the company. I hope you saw people you hadn't seen in a long time and renewed friendships with all of those people. We love you. We always have. We always will. We've always believed in inclusivity, not exclusivity. And this is a testimony to inclusivity. Our expansive group of friends and relatives has been something that's supported us, and especially over the last year and a half, has supported us tremendously. Debra, do you want to say anything to these folks?
I'm just saying that the only thing I have to give to each of you is a great big thank you. That's really all I can give.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. We love you, Deb.
You're very, very welcome.
What a wonderful life you've had, Mom.
My daughter informs me I did not say what a wonderful life I had with each of you. And I did have a wonderful life with each of you. And I thank you for it. That's why you got invited here.
Once again, thank you very much for coming. Like I said, this is a legacy, this is a legacy event in my eyes. We're going to put together a DVD with everything that we filmed here today. And if anybody wants it, you can email us, email Amy, you've got, or as Deb said, see, or buy it. We're trying to put money into an endowed fund for our grandson, and so that's the only reason why she would have said anything like that. I just want you to know. But thank you all very much for coming. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I could not have thought of a better way to bring a wonderful, warm, loving life to an end, but to talk about it, to experience it, to show the love that we all have, and to bring the curtain down. Thank you.
Hi Deb, it's Lenny. We had a chance earlier. I could not get up in front of all those people and hold it together. I want to tell you that it's all about love. When I think of you, I think of acceptance and love no matter what was happening in my life. Even if I didn't see you, just that's what family, you, and family meant to me is just knowing you were there. And that no matter what was happening, you'd be concerned about me and that I had love in my life.
Debbie, we love you so much. You've been an inspirational person in my life. I've always enjoyed all of our talks and all of the amazing advice that you have given me over the years.
When I think of Debra, the question is, what don't I think of when I think of Debra? Her grace, her composure, her incredible poise and posture.
Let's sit up a little straighter in honor.
That's true. Debra, you are first class, first class. And I mean that in every sense of the expression.
When I met you, I was 2 weeks away from being 19.
And you were 18 and a half. And I thought, oh, what a beautiful model. Who is this girl? And then it was Willie's girl.
How did he do that?
How did he do that? She was so beautiful. And he was just like this great big guy. I don't know. I don't know how she did that. She did that.
You are a person who lives what you think, feel, act. You're not just talk, you're action. In all the positive ways.
And I appreciate everything that you did. And when my mom was passing away, and what your family did for my family, and we love you, and I'm gonna miss you.
You're a person that would always bring out the best in me and make me feel that my life was okay. There's no falseness in interacting with you. There's no facades, there's no walls.
And we just want to say that you were always the party planner, just like Aunt Susie was. You ladies just always kept us a cohesive group. You were the glue, and we appreciate it and hope that we can carry on that same tradition of being the glue. So cheers and much love.
you.
We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, see you next lifetime, baby.
You'll be our angels on our shoulders.
Yeah, hey, put it to work for me.
I always knew you loved me for whatever I brought to you, whoever I was in that moment, in that point in my life. And I loved you for that. You're a part of me, and I don't like saying goodbye to parts of me, but I know I'm not saying goodbye. You are a part of me. I'm just saying goodbye to you as your physical body. I love you. I am honored to be part of your family. What happens next for you? I'm hoping it's a wonderful experience, whatever it is. And you deserve and have, I hope, felt all the love. And thank you so much for giving us this chance to be with you, because it's all that love that I feel today and that you have always made me feel that keeps me from being alone. And I hope today helps you not feel alone.
We've been fortunate to have the friends that we've had through our life, and it was an honor to have you come. celebrate this life, Debs.